من قال لصاحبه تعالى أقامرك فليتصدق. وعن الحسن بن علي رضي الله عنهما قال حفظت من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم دع ما يريبك إلى ما لا يريبك فإن الصدق طمانينة وإن الكذب ريبة أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والتسليم. Respected elders and dear brothers, inshallah this is today for the next 20 minutes or so with the I would like to speak to you on the topic of gambling. Gambling is maybe not very conventional topic to talk about. We usually don't talk. But gambling is something that is devastating, destroying and ruining loads and loads of families and people across the globe. First of all, what is gambling? So according to the Oxford Dictionary, the meaning of gambling is to take chance or to take risky actions to get the desired result. So take risk in order to get the desired result. In Arabic is almost the word which is used for gambling. There are mainly in Quran and Sunnah, there are two words which are used. Qimar and Maisir. These are the two words which have been used in Kitab and Sunnah, Kitabullah and Sunnah to Rasulullah. In Quran the word is used mostly Maisir and is explicitly mentioned in the Quran. And we'll talk about that. So Maisir, and also Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has used both. So Maisir as well as Qimar. And Qimar, which is in the hadith of Rasul alayhi salatu wa taslim, which I just recited, and Rasul alayhi salatu wa taslim says that if a person even says to his friend that come, let's play game, let's do gambling, then Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam's advice is that individual should give something in charity. Just because of saying, not playing, not, just the thought of it is so bad that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam has advised to give charity. So the word qimar, and the root of qimar, according to linguists, the Arab linguists, they say the word comes from qaf, mim, ra, qamar. Qamar stands for the moon. And we know when it is in, the first moon, when it comes, it is crescent and it's very thin and light. It's very difficult to see. And the size then it starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it becomes the al-badr, what we call the full moon. From there, the people, they have derived this meaning that qimar is like the moon. So what it does, it makes the person's wealth increase or decrease. And therefore they call it qimar. In Quran there are two places where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has talked explicitly about gambling or about maisir. There is one verse in Surah Al-Baqarah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to us, tells us, يَسَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ, that they ask you regarding concerning al-khamr, intoxicants, wal-maisir, and gambling. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ. Just say to people that yes, there are some benefits and there is a huge sin in it. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. And it's a wise, as they say, nod to the wise and a rod to the fool. So for the wise, there is an indication, a clue that Allah doesn't want you to engage or to involve or to get close to this. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you are wise, if you can use your mind, intellect, your intelligence, قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. Their loss is far more than their benefits. Yes, there are some benefits, and people by chance, sometimes they do win and they make money. By the way, this was, like intoxicants, like what we call alcohol and khamar, etc. This was a very common, very popular practice that the pre-Islam people or people in the Jahiliyyah, they used to engage in. And they used to do to the extent, gambling to the extent that they would, may Allah forbid, and it's mentioned, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu and other mufassirin, they have mentioned this. They say that people used to even gamble on their bet, on their wives, on their children, their families. This was in the past, in Jahiliyyah. And then there is a very famous story of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Obviously, in the early days of Islam, he wasn't haram. And we know, when the verses or when the surah, the chapter Ar-Rum, Alif Lam Mim, غُلِبَتِ الرُّومُ فِي أَدْنَى الْأَرْضِ وَهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ غَلَبِهِمْ سَيَغْلِبُونَ فِي بِضْعِ سِنِينَ لِلَّهِ الْأَمْرُ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَمِنْ بَعْدِ. When this surah, when this chapter was revealed, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu had some betting with the Quraysh, with some people of Makkah Mukarramah, to the extent that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to know about it, he says, Zid fil khatar, that yes, increase the amount and even increase the time limit. And then later on, Islam made it haram and it was prohibited. Anyway, so this was the initial thought of the Quran, or initially Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hinted, and Allah said, listen, there are some benefits, yes there are, but then their harms are greater than their benefits. But then later on, in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this clear-cut, explicit message, which is very important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجْسٌ مِّنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Allah says 4 things. Allah mentioned 4 things. Number 1, al-khamr. And we know in Arabic when the word innama is used is for exclusive. So innama al-khamru wal-maysir, truly khamr, intoxicants, and with all its forms, including drugs and everything that is included inside. Innama al-khamru wal-maysir. And maysir, gambling. And again, with all its types of casinos, of betting, of lucky draws, and whatnot, whatever you can think of, all these forms of gambling, they're included into the word al-maysir. And then wal-ansab, and sacrifices that used to be done in the name of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and wal-azlam, and throwing arrows, again to get some luck, etc. Allah says, rijsum min amali shaytan. They are, filth and dirt, min amali shaytan, from the act of shaytan. Fajtanibu, then refrain from it. Beware of it. Stay away from it. Why? لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. So that you may attain success. If we were to just reverse it, just the sense of the ayat. So if you don't do it, yes, you will succeed. Which means, if you do it, what will happen? So obvious result will be, you are not going to be the winners. The winners are losers. And I will tell you, there is you could check it on BBC Urdu, there is a report of a lady called Lisa Walker. This was in 2021. This lady, she won in one night 127,000 British pounds. 127,000 British pounds in betting, in lottery. And she says, that was the worst night of my life. Winning 127,000 pounds was the worst night. Why? Because it got her into gambling more and more, to the extent, and I'm cutting the story short, to the extent that she had to actually sell her own accommodation, a house, without even telling or letting her husband or partner know about it. Because what then happened, the casino guys started offering her free meals, free tickets, free tea, free coffee, and she got into it and unfortunately ended up. Today, the shocking result, it says that the study was done, and that this is about 2022. In 2022, gambling industry was worth 440 billion US dollars. 440 billion US dollars in 2022. I don't know why it would be in 2024. Maybe even if it is the same. You think, wow, it's $449 billion people are making it. But they are making these $449 billion at who's losing? The millions of people they are losing. And there is a report in 2023 that was published. So according to a report published in 2023, 1 out of 50 people, approximately 1 out of 50 adults worldwide have somehow or some way used gambling in one way or the other. And then what happens when you engage into gambling? The report says that 76% of people who are addicted to gambling, they suffer from severe financial difficulties leading to even suicides. And the report says, annual reports in the UK, on an average, almost every year 400 suicidal cases happen because of gambling in our UK alone. And if you think about the world, it will be like, Allah knows how many. So our deen is a complete deen. What our deen teaches us is hard work. Work hard. Don't go for easy money. If he attracts and he appeals and people think, wow, oh, it's good, you don't have to work hard. But our deen actually teaches us to work hard, to put the effort. And every step that we take to make the both ends meet or to earn the bread for our family is rewardable. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards you for every step that you take, everything that you do to earn halal. Earning halal is also a responsibility. By the way, we say, oh yes, don't, but when you live in dunya, yes, you have to earn your dunya as well. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Don't forget your share from dunya. But this doesn't mean that we go and start earning dunya in the haram ways. We earn dunya in halal ways. Yes, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, allowed us, whatever Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has promised, yes, we do that. And there is a beautiful hadith which I recited. Sayyidina Hassan ibn Ali radiallahu anhu, he narrates and he says that one thing I've learned from my granddad, Rasul alayhi salatu wa taslim, is دع ما يريبك إلى ما لا يريبك. And it's a beautiful principle. دع ما يريبك. Leave that which makes you doubt for that which doesn't make you doubt or have a doubt. So if I know, for example, when we talk about cryptocurrency, when we talk about Bitcoin, and a lot of our youngsters, they are into it, and I know they pull some fatwas from, with all respect to all muftiyan ikram, with muftis, but they pull some fatwas and some, they say, oh yes, it's okay, you can do it. But there are fatwas, and I can show if somebody wants to. The fatwa from Darul Uloom Deoband, from Jamiatul Uloom al-Islamiyya in Binori town, they all consider Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies as to be haram. So the popular or maybe more cautious view on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is still haram. And there are people who say, oh yes, you can do it. But what you do whenever you have doubt like this, you think, oh, this sheikh says this, and these institutions say this, they are outdated, No. In matters when it comes to haram and anything doubtful, what we do, the principle is from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Apply this. دَعْ مَا يَرِيبُكَ إِلَى مَا لَا يَرِيبُكَ. That which makes you doubt, have suspicion, leave it. Give it up. Don't engage into it. Don't go close to it. إِلَى مَا لَا يَرِيبُكَ. To that which doesn't make you, and then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned, فَإِنَّ الصِّدْقَ طُمَأْنِينَةٌ, that truth is tranquility. Truth brings peace, prosperity, contentment. وَإِنَّ الْكِذْبَ رِيبَةٌ. And falsehood, lying, what it does, it makes you have doubt, suffer from within, from inside, makes you earn. And we know so many people who get into, and this addiction is one of the hard addictions to do. With gambling, maybe in the past, People only had to go to casinos or places to play or to have bet. But now with online gambling, oh, unfortunately, it's so easy and accessible, nobody knows. If, for example, before, if somebody used to go to, what we call in our, next to this Dixie chicken, we have the betting shop. If somebody went from our community, people would just look at him and say, oh, this guy goes to this place. But now you don't. But remember the words of Allah. مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. Nothing is hidden from the CCTV of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah's CCTV is watching every single thing that we do, wherever we do. And how beautifully Luqman alayhi salatu wa taslim explained to his son when he spoke to him and gave him some beautiful pearls of advice. And he mentioned that, listen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is latifun khabir. And then Allah says that if the sin or if any good that you do, even if it is the amount of إن تك مثقال حبة من خردل فتكن في صخرة أو في السماوات أو في الأرض يأتي بها الله. Whatever you do, if it is like a very size of a mustard seed, the sin, and then you commit or act or good deed even, you did the size of a mustard seed, very small, and you think you can hide it. Allah has made it even simpler for us to understand, and that you leave in a rock, or you leave it, you do it in the heavens. Nowadays, gambling, these scratching cards, we can do in flights as well. Some aeroplanes or some flight services, they provide gambling. So people can be in the air or flying, or maybe if you have access to internet, you can play there as well. So people do. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَوْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Or if you do it in the layers of the earth, you go into these submarines and you play there and you think, wow, I've done it there. No, يَأْتِ بِهَا اللَّهِ. Remember, Allah is going to bring that forth. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَطِيفٌ خَبِيرٌ. Truly Allah is very delicate and is all acquainted of everything. So yes, what can we do in order to stop gambling habits? So there are so many charities, organizations worldwide. There is one called Gamble Aware, and there are so many that you could search yourself and you can seek advice and guidance from them. If anybody has anything, any inclination or any thoughts about it, if they want any help, they can contact those websites, they can go on their own, they have these free numbers, you can speak to them. But as a community, what we need to do certain things, some recreational activities where our people can engage. We need to encourage them, maybe teach them some skills that they can learn, and talk constantly about the importance of working hard, putting efforts, learning skills, doing things, so that they, instead of getting into all these kind of easy money things, they start working for the real things, and then they start earning whatever they earn, because it's very important. What we eat, they say, you are what you eat. You are what you eat. And they say every single living cell in our body is made of some sort of, the food that we eat. And if you constantly continue eating junk, you're going to become junk. If we continue using haram money, our body, our heart will be, there will be stamp on it, and we will not turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah beautifully says, Ya ayyuha rusulu kulu min at-tayyibati wa'amalu salihah. The O messengers, eat from that which is tayyib, pure, wa'amalu salihah, and do the righteous deeds. And ulama, they say the link between eating halal and doing righteous deeds is, if you eat halal, you are more likely to be given the tawfiq to do good deeds. And if you don't eat halal, you are very unlikely, and maybe the heart will be blocked and it won't listen to. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to stay away from gambling, from anything that leads to gambling. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding to understand the harms of gambling, what losses people have from gambling. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.